Hello everybody and welcome back to F1 23 with me, Dan, and the Razor Slothz team as we get a little nudge from the marketing department to pick a new rival as we got absolutely trounced by Carlos Sainz in the previous rivalry. Max Verstappen, who seems to be doing the worst of the top 6 drivers in my opinion this season, we're going to take him. And finally the last Spec 2 upgrade all the facilities goes on the car, which means I'm now allowing myself to buy Spec 3. They are going to be pretty expensive, but we are going to go for the chassis ones first. And as per usual, into practice 2 straight away, as I did practice 1 on track to learn the braking zones. And we'll be picking up the research points first and foremost, and then trying to pick up some of the other upgrades as well. And of course, because we're running out of upgrades for the Spec 2 parts, we actually have just been thrusted with a load of reliability upgrades that we can get here in practice, which isn't ideal. So we'll pick up this energy store one just to improve our chances at the 75 points, and we do get it. And then we've got a very wide choice of things we can go for. Electrical systems seem to be the one it's pushing for the most, so we don't get that one. And going into one of these race strategy, yeah, we do find one we can actually do. And unfortunately, we don't get that one either. So here we go then for the British Grand Prix. No upgrades actually, because it's a pretty short space of time between Austria and this race. And nothing we could actually buy yet, as we're saving up resource points to get a front and rear wing upgrade at the same time. Hopefully that doesn't backfire and then only one of them actually complete in time, or one of them fail completely. So we'll just have to see how that goes. But anyway, for any future races, don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell, because we're halfway through this season at this point and you don't want to miss what's coming up next. Even I don't know what's coming up next, and I don't want to miss it either because I've not recorded it yet. So onto the starting grid we go. And starting P1, it's Sergio Perez, race winner in Austria, alongside Charles Leclerc by 9 thousandths of a second. To pole position, very close. Then we have Lando Norris and Jack Doohan, Radiant Slothz in P5, and Lance Stroll, Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon, George Russell and Max Verstappen in 10th. Then we have Lewis Hamilton and Alex Albon, Carlos Sainz and Kevin Magnussen, Valtteri Bottas, Antonio Porcher, Yuki Tsunoda and Nico Hülkenberg, Joe Guan Yu and Oscar Piastri, and Nick De Vries and Logan Sargent, who picks up a penalty. But he was probably going to be started at the back anyway. So, interesting results there so far for qualifying. Lando Norris actually having a great run there. Very similar to how he did in the 2023 race in Silverstone just a few weeks ago. Hopefully we'll get to see him pull off a great result here as well. And also our teammate, who starts just a place ahead of us. Finally, he may get some points. 5 red lights will appear. We are the green car on the right hand side of the screen as we pull away here in Silverstone, and we pull out into the gap left down the middle. We've had a fantastic start compared to our rivals as we go into turn 1, and we are leading the Grand Prix. Debris going everywhere in the background there as someone's had some contact. I just saw a few cars change their position, but it doesn't mean anything through the first couple of corners. But we are leading the Grand Prix. Our home Grand Prix as well after the first few corners, and I can see why actually Sergio Perez starting on the hard tyre, and I think actually Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris did the same thing as well. And look at Lance Stroll all the way up to P5 with the Aston Martin. Unbelievable. He's running the soft as well, so his performance to be fairly comparable to ours. But we're expecting a quick drop off with this tyre life as we pull away late off the line. But we just go absolutely steaming through the middle of everyone here as we get away and into turn 1 and clear air ahead of us. This was our teammate Jack Doohan, who started quite well for the first time in a long time. He gets alongside Carlos Sainz and into turn 1 he goes, and he's binned it! It's one opportunity to score for some points, and Jack Doohan has screwed it up and has just smashed up his front wing. And there's the confirmation. He's last as he retired the car. Unbelievable from Jack Doohan. He's been such a good teammate throughout Season 1 and part of Season 2. It's shocking that he has done so badly as we drift through the final couple of corners there. Sergio Perez trying not to crash into Charles Leclerc as they go battling side by side. And we've got a little bit of a traffic jam emerging behind us now, as we're not the fastest car on the grid. Progression-wise, from a performance, everyone's pulled ahead quite nicely, and Haas have caught up as well. As Sergio Perez pulls off to the side of the track. Oh, and he's been hit by the Alpine! I don't know which way. Esteban Ocon has crashed into Sergio Perez. That is the second time in 2 seasons that he has caused an accident when he's broken down, and that is an Alpine completely destroyed and nearly wipes out other cars as well on track. So safety car has been deployed. It is coming again, and we will lead the restart the first time on F1 23. Through we go, being artificially slowed down as the safety car has not reached the speed limit line in the pit lane. As I see positions changing behind us, we've had some people come in. In fact, half the field have just entered the pit lane, and that promotes Lancelot Stroll up to P2, and Max Verstappen, who had a torrid race, qualifying, is up into P5 now. Stroll on the soft tyre, still faster than us, is closing in. We run wide through Cops there. That's not good, as Stroll's going to come up alongside us. He's on the right-hand side. He crashes into the side of us there, banging wheels. That was a very ambitious move to be trying to make through there. But it's not paid off for him. He will, of course, get a perfect opportunity very shortly to get past us with the DRS. And as we rejoin on lap 7, that opportunity is coming up. We've also got George Russell, who seems to have been the only car in the top 10 who was running the hards, who has decided to just stay out there instead of making a ridiculously early pit stop. And you can see Hamilton, Leclerc, Norris still outside of the top 10 at the moment, as Lance Stroll finally goes to the move that I mentioned earlier on. He's got the outside here, and he sweeps around us as he has the far superior car anyway. The Aston Martin comparable with the Red Bull, Ferrari and the Mercedes at this point. And we are yet to catch up. Although the ones who have caught up, as I mentioned, are the likes of McLaren, Alpine and Haas. Which does explain why Nico Hulkenberg is running in P5 ahead of Max Verstappen. It is actually because he got there on merit. Kevin Magnussen, I believe, came in earlier on for a pit stop. Anyway, as we come through Magnussen Beckett's, we're now starting to suffer as George Russell, on his much less worn hard tyres, tries to find a way by, as does Carlos Sainz. And as we come down towards the final few corners, George Russell up the inside there, aggressive as he comes ahead of us, and we decide that that is the moment that we're going to come into the pit lane. Let's watch that replay again. As we come through Magnussen Beckett's, we run quite wide. He sees an opportunity and just decides to crash into us. But given that we are at the home Grand Prix, he avoids it out of sheer mercy. But here, entered the DRS zone up the inside, and it was no contest. The Mercedes was much faster and is on much more durable tyres. But we're away at the pit stop, and where is Lewis Hamilton? Lewis Hamilton is coming through unbelievably. The largest undercut of the season so far, and it's paid off. Lando Norris also ahead of us. Where's Kevin Magnussen? Kevin Magnussen there in 16th, right behind us. Essentially, this is net P4 for us, net P5 for Magnussen, and net P6 for Williams. That's crucial for the constructors, as they are still on 0 points right now. And the entire field is in the pit lane as we come through the final few corners, fighting our way through. Leclerc and Hamilton massively ahead of us, and Oscar Piastri serving a 5-second penalty there, so just his weekend getting even worse. And thankfully, there we are, up into P5 ahead of Russell, but he's now out on the same tyre as us, and that is not good. He's already fighting his way past Kevin Magnussen as we rejoin on lap 10. There he is, going around the outside of the Haas, who is surely going to lose out to Carlos Sainz, who's also closing in just behind. He's still got to get past Teo Pourchaire. And Lance Stroll, who was must have missed out massively if we managed to get past him. He was ahead of us by quite a margin earlier on. But here goes Russell again, following us through Cops. Will he make a completely stupid move up the inside? No, he doesn't, because we didn't actually run wide this time. But he is going to have DRS, and he's already closing in on us. Goes to the inside, and this will be no contest at all, as he leaves us well and truly behind in P6. Hopefully, we can stick with him in the DRS zones and close up to Norris, who of course made that early stop, so his medium tyres will be starting to shed and fall apart. But we've also got to be mindful of Carlos Sainz, who is behind us, and although he's on the half tyre, he's still in a faster car, as we just about make it round Cops there, having to change down partly through the corner, and we just have to allow Carlos Sainz through, because there's no way that we can compete with the Ferrari, which seems to have plenty of downforce to compete here. We are going to get DRS though, so we could come back at him. Russell making a move on Lando Norris up ahead. I think Norris is... yeah, he has surrounded the place. That puts George... oh no, Russell is still ahead, behind Lando Norris. Lando Norris defending that podium with everything he has, but he's got two British drivers behind him, and they could upset his day. Russell now moves ahead as they go through turn 1, and there's the confirmation. Here's Carlos Sainz, still trying to find a way past. Kevin Magnussen has been overtaken by Lance Stroll, and Alex Albon is closing in. Teo Pourchaire, really lucky he's still in the points. He's got quite a way to go here to try and do something for Williams, as Carlos Sainz once again goes past us. The defensive move to the inside of the circuit, making zero difference whatsoever. And the Ferrari will speed off, chasing down his former teammate Lando Norris. And we've got to be careful of Lance Stroll now, a far more aggressive driver than any that have come past us so far. And we're already starting to suffer with the tyres. As we come through Maggots and Beckett's, we're probably going to go for a move here on Carlos Sainz, unless we continuously run wide as we're doing right now. We're going to get the DRS, which will protect us from Stroll, but Stroll is waiting for the right opportunity, and we'll close up on Carlos Sainz now up the inside of the Ferrari. We do get the place away. It won't last very long though, as actually he managed to stay behind us along the Wellington straight. We're coming up to Maggots and Beckett's, then the Hangar straight now. Norris looking quite close with 4 and a bit laps to go. And something else looking quite close is our tyres to the end of their usable life, as we're now being overtaken by Carlos Sainz and Lance Stroll at the same time. Lance Stroll may cause contact here with Carlos Sainz, and we've also got to be careful behind, because Alex Albon now, as we rode on board, is having a look up the inside into Club, and we're going to crowd him out of the way there. We're not being too awful to him. We have pushed him to the white line, but not way off the circuit. And Teo Pourchaire still holding on to P10 as Lando Norris now comes under attack from Lance Stroll. Stroll avoiding contact for a change as he gets past Lando Norris. Lando Norris compromised there with the line he had to take. Nothing he could do. And now we're closing right up to the back of this fight. Now Carlos Sainz going to the outside. We're going to the inside, but who's going to prevail here as we go on board with us? Rounds we go towards Club, and we got the pair of them there. But Carlos Sainz is going to fight back into Club now. And once again, the Ferrari showing its dominance in the corners and is far and away quicker than us. We are back into P6, but we've still got a chance to chase him down as we ride on with Carlos Sainz now in the battle for 4th. The battle for the lead is going in Hamilton's favour at the moment as Stroll gets past. So to the delight of the crowd, as shortly Hamilton and Leclerc are on the final lap by now. It's a close fight to the end between the two of them. who will come out on top as we come through. Still following Carlos Sainz. Can he make a move on the Wellington Straight to try and get past Lance Stroll? Alex Albon has dropped away, so I think we're safe, but we might be able to get DRS on one of them and try and get past before the end of the race. The extra points would be very appreciated. As we follow Carlos Sainz, he's got the DRS now on Stroll. He's closing in pretty rapidly, but is he going to make a move? He doesn't. Just yet, he's saving himself for later on in the Grand Prix. Also, I've just noticed Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez all the way down there. Oh, of course, Sergio Perez has retired, but Max Verstappen is in 17th. He's absolutely fallen apart. The Red Bull outlet this season has just not performed at all at the level that you'd expect, as we've had wins mainly from Mercedes and Ferrari. And talking of which, Ferrari are now leading the race again. Charles Leclerc overtaking Lewis Hamilton with a few corners to go, and both Hasses now making their way into the points. And so we go with Carlos Sainz now. He's going to go to the outside of Lance Stroll, and he's already ahead at the braking zone as he comes through here. We were not able to get close enough to have any kind of challenge, but Lewis Hamilton has taken the lead and has won the race incredibly, to the crowd's delight, as we come through the final corner. Russell picking up a podium as well, and we cross the line in P6. Not the result we would have wanted, but not a bad result all around for the home drivers. Lewis Hamilton picking up driver of the day as well. We'll have to see where Norris finished in just a second. But there is Lewis Hamilton, his second win of the season now. The previous one being picked up all the way back in Australia, so 5 races ago now. Should put him level with Russell, I think, on race wins, unless Russell picked up a cheeky 3rd win somewhere. He may have done, to be honest, but we'll see what the Drivers' Championship looks like in a moment. And it's all good for us, though, because in our little battle, we are fighting Verstappen and Sainz. So that fight will leave Verstappen behind, and hopefully we can continue it to the end. So here are the race results. Of course, Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc and George Russell were the podium finishers of this race. Carlos Sainz, Lance Stroll, Radiant Slothz, Alex Albon, Lando Norris, Nico Hülkenberg and Pierre Gasly pick up the final point. So to the driver's standards, once again, the lead changes hand, this time going to 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton. He's 11 points ahead of Charles Leclerc and 13 ahead of Sergio Perez. Further down the order, we have George Russell, then the battle for 5th between Carlos Sainz, Radiant Slothz and Max Verstappen, with Alex Albon slowly closing in behind. Finally, we have Esteban Ocon and Lance Stroll making up the top 10. Joint 10th, we had Pierre Gasly, then jumping back to 12th, Lando Norris, Kevin Magnussen, Oscar Piastri, Nico Hülkenberg and Valtteri Bottas, and then Yuki Tsunoda and Zhou Guanyu, the final point scorers, with Jack Doohan, Logan Sargent, Teo Pourchaire and Nick de Vries yet to score. And over to the Constructors' Championship, Mercedes are pulled well clear of rivals Red Bull as Ferrari jump them into 2nd place as well, as the Constructors' battle rages on at the top. Behind them in P4, the battle for 4th, Razor Slothz are still leading over Aston Martin, and then a big leap back to Alpine in 6th. Then we have McLaren, Haas, Alfa Romeo, AlphaTauri, and finally it's Williams. That's all for this race. We'll catch you next time in France.